I start with San Salvador. They got the outer bands of the hurricane, and they weathered it much better than the other two islands. There were flooding in the area of Hall's Landing, which subsided very quickly, and there were some roof damages in Coburn Town and on a few of the homes. The primary damage would have been just a few shingles missing that resulted in leaking of roofs. The high school computer room was, because of the manner in which they stored the computers, they were all destroyed by the water and the water damage. And therefore we may have to find ways and means of populating that computer room with computers in very short order. In Rumpke, there are about 30 homes of locals, and of those, 25 all of them had some form of damage. The famous sandbar owned by Dolores Wilson, that is practically destroyed. Mr. D.D. Bain's home was totally destroyed. Alvida Scavala house was destroyed. A number of the other homes had badly roofed. The roof of Francis Gardner was badly destroyed. The Zion Baptist Church was also extensively damaged, and a number of the other homes had varying degrees of damage to their roofs. Cat Island, which in my view took the brunt of the hurricane, my observations were that they were in fact devastated. I'm advised that there is some thought that the damage in Cat Island was not that extensive. Well, I'll just liken that to beauty. It's in the eyes of the beholder. But I don't think if you speak to any Cat Island resident, they will embrace the thought that Cat Island was not severely damaged by the hurricane. In Orange Creek, for example, you had down power lines, you had road erosion, large casuarina trees were down, there were stones and mud in the road, and farm animals were running free. About 10 homes, roofs were practically off. There was a lot of water damage, and in this regard, I would wish to invite the government to consider when deciding what relief they ought to give to these far-flung islands in respect to restoring them, that they consider perhaps waiving the duty on appliances, because a number of persons in Cat Island lost their fridge, lost washing machines, and other things due to the height of the water that they experienced during the course of the hurricane. In particular, a major portion of the road between T-Bay and Smiths Bay was lost and eroded away. That was going to require some very extensive repairs. And the seawalls around that area likewise were compromised and would also have to pay, some attention would have to be paid. Whilst I remember, I'll just revert back to Rumpke. Another major damage of note is that there's a canal that separates the town that divides the town, over which was a bridge. that bridge completely collapsed, and therefore no vehicular traffic can go from one end to the next as we speak. We took the opportunity to lay lamp poles, or 3 lamp poles. We put it together to at least have ambular traffic across. You can walk across, but you cannot now drive across there. I'm also at this time would like to give commendation to Mr. Joseph Harding, the manager of BEC on that island. Despite the fact that every pole had some damage from the hurricane, he was able to restore expeditiously within a matter of a day and a half all power to the residents on that island. And I did send a note to the manager, Mr. Baston, to commending his efforts along with 2 of the civilians who assisted him in bringing relief insofar as power is concerned to that island. Back to Cat Island, a number of lamp poles were downed. We've seen it throughout the island. No power is yet to be restored. And I did make some requests of BEC to ensure that the resources and personnel could make post haste to the island to at least bring some relief insofar as the power is concerned. In speaking to the BEC personnel there, they thought that if they were to get 2 bucket trucks, a drill truck, and a few manpower, they would have been able to restore light to Cat Island within a period of 2 or 3 days. We did send that request to BEC, and we trust that they would have adhere to our request. And so in Cat Island, as I said, there almost every home had some form of damage, water damage, roof damage, and it's going to take some time to restore the physicality of those buildings. Of course, quite apart from restoring the physical damage, we also think we have to think about assisting these residents to overcome the emotional and traumatic experience that they had, because they too, their mentality was affected by it, and you can still hear the pain and the concern in their voice of what they would have experienced during the course of the passing of Hurricane Irene. Some observations. I am concerned I have some doubts as well as to the preparedness of the government in respect to this hurricane. Cat Island, we lost communication with the south of Cat Island, and that was so for at least 2 days. Where was the satellite phone for the officials on Cat Island, so that people could at least know what was going on in Cat Island? We knew from all accounts that Hurricane Irene was going to be a direct hit on the island of Cat Island and on some of the other islands as well. On Cat Island, they sent 2 Defense Force officers. 2. And if you know Cat Island, you'd ask yourself whether that would have been sufficient, knowing that Cat Island was in the line specifically of a direct hit of that hurricane. I would have thought that they would have had a contingent of Defense Force officers on that island long before the hit to be able to assist in the cleanup, and at least to have the airport open in time so relief could start coming in. So those observations of mine caused me to seriously doubt that NEMA was up to the mark during the course of this passing of the hurricane.